everyone, it's Deja from CrochetEverAfter.com, and right now I'm going to show you how to half double crochet in the front loop only. And I'm going to show you different things that you can do with this stitch and what kind of pattern it actually creates in your project. So let's get started. So we're going to show you how to work the half double crochet in the front loop only. Now when you're looking at your work right now, it almost looks like your V's are facing you. It looks like you have a set of V's running sideways. But don't be fooled, because that is just the third loop of your half double crochet. Your actual V's, if you turn your work, always turn it so that it's facing up. You can see here your V's are. So you need to know that to be able to work into the front or back loop. If you start working into V's, you're going to have the incorrect part of your stitch, and it's going to create a funny looking stitch and not what you're going for. So to work your front loop, you need to know which one's your front loop, and all you do is look at the one that's closest to you, and that is the one in front, and that is going to be this side. The back loop, of course, is the one in back, which is this guy here, the one further from you. So I started at the beginning of my row so you can see how I do this. Because I count my chain 2 as my first stitch, I don't have to worry about working into this first stitch. If I was going to not count my chain 2, I would yarn over and I would find my V's if I needed to, and find my front loop and insert my hook just under that front loop. But since I count this as my first half double, I'm going to skip this first stitch and I'm going to go to my second stitch. So this is a nice open spot to insert your hook, but just make sure that you're not going under this loop thinking it's your front loop. Always turn your work and find your V's if you're not sure. So I'm going to yarn over for a regular half double, and then I'm going to insert my hook through that nice big gap I have and just catch my front loop. And then I yarn over and pull that up and finish it off by yarning over and pulling through all 3 loops. To be able to do it quickly, you kind of point down and then push up. So you point down to get under the loop, and then you push up to get in between the 2 loops. Because if you push straight back, you're going to catch both loops. So if you push up, you can see that you get right under that front loop only. Yarn over and pull that up, yarn over and pull through all 3. Again, I push through and push up to catch it, and yarn over and pull up and pull through. And you can see that after a little bit it gets quite easy. You'll get into the rhythm of it, of pushing it through just that front loop. But always remember, if you get lost, if you put your work down and you're like, oh, where am I at? Turn it sideways and find that front loop. I'm going to finish to the end of the row so you can see what the other side of my work looks like. So depending on what you're creating, if you're designing your own. Okay, and we'll talk about our last stitch, because our last stitch was a chain 2, which was the chain 2 at the beginning of this row. If I'm not sure I'm at my last stitch, I always count my V's to make sure. So I should have 10 because I made a 10 stitch row. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 with my chain 2. What you can do, because you don't really see it anyways, is on these last stitches, don't worry about the front loop. Just do a regular half double crochet, because you're working into a chain stitch. You're not working into a regular stitch. So when you get to half double crochet and above, when you're using your chain stitches as a stitch, don't worry about front and back loop. Just work right through it. So as you can see on this side, you get the ridge just from the half double crochet, but on this side you get a nice horizontal line from that back loop that wasn't worked into. And this creates kind of a thinner fabric. So if you're making a garment, working in the front loop makes a lot thinner garment than if you were doing half double crochets through both loops. These first 2 are just through both loops, And if you could feel this, you would feel that it's a lot thinner because you're only working through that one loop, and it kind of stretches your project out a little bit. So it creates a taller project and also a thinner project. So that's good to keep in mind if you're designing yourself and you want to find a way to make a thinner fabric. Front loop only will help you do that. And if you continue working back and cross, you'll get these horizontal lines through the project every other row, because your next row, the horizontal line is going to be on the other side. So that's how you do a front loop only half double crochet.